Hello everyone, Namaskar, good afternoon, welcome to SuperGrads IPM. And today, first in the history of IPM on SuperGrads channel, we are conducting a live mock solving. Yes, we are conducting a live mock solving for IIM Kozhikode. बहुत सारे बच्चों को ये टेंशन है कि भाई इतने क्वेश्चंस कैसे करेंगे, टाइम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैसे करेंगे, क्वेश्चन सिलेक्शन कैसे करेंगे, क्वेश्चन रिजेक्शन कैसे करेंगे। तो आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशन सेट करने के लिए, आपको ये समझाने के लिए कि भाई क्या करना है एग्जाम के दौरान, टू गिव यू द रियल फीलिंग ऑफ द एग्जामिनेशन एंड इट्स प्रेशर, आई एम हेयर लाइव विथ यू टू सॉर्ट दिस प्रॉब्लम। और शायद मैं आपकी कसौटी पे खरा उतर पाऊं और समझा पाऊं कि हमें एग्जामिनेशन में कैसा करना है। Yes, we do have enroll for the crash courses. वहां पे you will get the test series. Got it? तो एग्जाम के प्रेशर में हमें कैसे ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट करने की कोशिश करनी है, उसका एक डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन। एंड डेफिनेटली आई विल बी सॉल्विंग दिस मॉक लाइव इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू ऑल, सो एज टू गिव यू द फील कि भाई लाइव में आपको ही नहीं, टीचर को भी प्रेशर होता है जब पेपर सॉल्व करते हैं ना। तो कोई भी हो, कितना भी आता हो, आपको लगता ही है गलती तो नहीं होगी, ये तो नहीं हो गया। तो लेट्स गो अहेड एंड सी कि हाउ डज इट गो एंड हाउ मच आई विल स्कोर। ठीक है, तो मैं अपना स्कोर दिखाऊंगा लास्ट में। सो ऑल ऑफ यू आर रेडी? शैल वी बिगिन विद दिस टेस्ट? एंड keep few things in mind during the solving of this test. You have to just watch, go through the questions, solve it silently, and just post your answers in the chat box. I won't be able to reply in between. मैं बीच में आपकी क्वायरीज का रिप्लाई नहीं कर पाऊंगा once we are done with the test. अगर आप कुछ पूछोगे तो definitely I will help, but बीच में तो you have to look at the screen while I am solving, और आपको भी पैरेलली सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करनी है और मेरे साथ रेस लगानी कि सर आपसे पहले तो मेरा आंसर आ गया। ठीक है, तो लेट्स सी भाई कि चैट बॉक्स में आप लोगों के किस टाइप के रिस्पॉन्सेस, कितने रिस्पॉन्सेस और कितने आंसर्स आते हैं मुझसे पहले, और कितने क्वेश्चंस में मैं आपसे पहले सॉल्व कर लेता हूं। तो चलो आज एक कंपटीशन हो ही जाए, एक स्प्रिंटिंग हो ही जाए अपने बीच में कि कौन ज्यादा तेज सॉल्व कर पाता है। एंड आई होप आप लोग जीतोगे, क्योंकि आप प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो, आप मॉक्स दे रहे हो, आप सिलेबस बार बार रिपीट कर रहे हो, रिवाइज कर रहे हो, और आप डेडिकेटेड हो। तो आई होप आप जीतो, आई विश आप जीतो। सो ऑल द बेस्ट एंड शैल वी बिगिन? अगेन आई एम आस्किंग दिस क्वेश्चन, टेल मी क्विकली इन द चैट बॉक्स। आप के मैसेजेस फ्लड होने चाहिए इस क्वेश्चन के लिए, क्योंकि इसके बाद तो आई विल नॉट बी इंटरेक्टिंग मच, क्योंकि मेरा पूरा फोकस होगा भाई स्कोर करने पे, जैसे तुम लोग एग्जाम में जाते हो। तो ऑलरेडी देयर। देखो, उसने सिर्फ ग्रामर बोला है, तो ग्रामर में बहुत बड़ी रेंज है, तो वो सब कुछ आएगा नहीं आएगा उस पर हम कमेंट नहीं कर सकते। हम सिर्फ एक काम कर सकते हैं, दैट वी शुड बी प्रिपेयर्ड विथ वट एवर सिलेबस वी हैव कवर्ड फॉर आईपीमैट इंदौर और IIM रोहतक। सब चीज की तैयारी करके रख लो भाई, कुछ ना कुछ उसी में से आएगा। तुम लोग एक बार कर ही चुके हो, सिर्फ एक रिवीजन ही करना है, और आपके पास काफी समय है अभी भी। ठीक है, 20 दिन है तैयारी करने के लिए, अगर मैं ट्रैवल और बाकी सब कुछ हटा भी दूं तो। ठीक है, चलिए, सो लेट्स बिगिन विद दिस टेस्ट एंड हियर आर द इंस्ट्रक्शंस। सो वही सेम इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं, तो मैं पढ़ लेता हूं एक बार। कुछ चेंज तो नहीं हुआ? नहीं 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 चेंज हुआ। फॉर मल्टीपल चॉइस question number on the question palette at the right of the screen, number this to change your answer you have to do, मतलब सेम ही प्लेटफॉर्म है। give correct answer, okay, medium is language is English, and with all your permission I am clicking on I am ready to begin. So here's the first question, and यहाँ पे ही आपका टाइमर चल रहा है, and I will be solving it in 1 hour. So let's see. The price of notebook decreased by 25% as a result. Ashi got, क्योंकि इसके बाद आपका वर्बल का टेस्ट शुरू होगा इसके बाद, तो आई विल गेट जस्ट 1 hour टू सॉल्व दिस सेक्शन। ठीक है, तो लेट मी यूज स्क्रिबल। अब यहाँ पे क्या दिया हुआ है, The price of notebook decreased by 25%. As a result, Ashi got 5 more, spending 180, which she allocated for purchasing notebook every month. Okay, how much less number of books she would have got for the same money had the price increased by 25% instead of decreasing? अच्छा, 25%, 25% डिक्रीज हुआ है, तो 75% में, सो 25% अगर 5 के बराबर है तो 75% 15 के बराबर होगा. सो एक्चुअली शी वॉज गेटिंग 15 बुक्स. इफ इट इंक्रीजेस बाय 25% तो प्राइस विल बिकम 5/4. सो द नंबर विल बिकम 4/5. 5 से कैंसिल करेंगे, 4 into 3, आंसर इज 12. तो हाउ मच लेस हमें बताना है, तो 15 की जगह 12 खरीद रहा है, 3 की कमी है. सो द आंसर इज 3. पहला क्वेश्चन तो हो गया. चलो, it is sorted. Let's move to the next question. Let's see what they are asking. The monthly telephone bill has a fixed tariff of 50 outgoing calls. Outgoing calls in excess to 50 are charged at a certain fixed rate per call. The monthly bills of the two men who had made 98 and 218 are 300 and 450. 98 and 218, the difference is 120. 120 pe they are charging 150 extra, means charge per call is 5/4. 150 upon 12. Yes, it is 5/4. Find the monthly bill of a person who has made 160 calls. Okay, so first I have to take 5/4. If he is making 98 calls, means he is making 48 extra calls. So multiplied by 40, so it will be 12 into 5, 60 rupees. So 60 rupees here, it means for 50 calls, it will be 240 rupees. And now someone is making 160 calls, so making 110 extra calls, multiply by 5/4. So it will be 550/4. 550 का हाफ होता है 275. 275 का हाफ होगा 275 है, का हाफ होगा 137.5. 240 plus 137 is 377. Yes, got the answer. Answer is B. ठीक है भाई, इजी क्वेश्चंस हैं ये तो मुझे करने ही है. नेक्स्ट. Working individually, A, B, C, D, E can complete a piece of work in 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 days respectively. A start the work after 2 days. B नहीं भाई, इसमें पेन की जरूरत पड़ेगी, so I have to mark it for review. ये बाद में सॉल्व करूंगा मैं. नेक्स्ट. In how many different ways can two fruits be selected from 3 apples, 2 oranges, 2 mangoes and 1 peach? मैक्सिमम 2 फ्रूट सिलेक्ट करने. एक फ्रूट सिलेक्ट करने के तरीके होंगे 4. मैक्सिमम 2 सिलेक्ट करने, 0 फ्रूट सिलेक्ट करने के तरीके होंगे 1. तो एक 1 + 4 इज 5 ways, 0 और 1 के 2 fruits. अगर 4, all 4 are different, so 4C2, that is 6 ways. And if they are same, so they can be either apple, orange or mango. 3C1, that is 3. 6 plus 3, 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. So the answer for this question is 14. Let's proceed. Next. A shopkeeper reduces the price by 12.5%. Okay. फिर thinking that this is not enough, he reduces by 10% when selling the product to a customer. He further gives a discount of 7%. एक मोटा मोटा अंदाजा, because I options are there, so what I can expect, 12.5 plus 10 plus 7. 12.5 plus 10 is 22.5 plus 7 is 29.5. The answer will definitely be less than 29.5 because successive discount, so the answer will not be 29.5, but I have so many options. 12.5, 26, 21, 26, 21 can be the answer. Will mark it for review and proceed ahead. 3 taps A, B, and C can individually fill the cistern in 7, 14, and 21 hours respectively. Okay, 7, 14, and 21. The LCM would be 42, so efficiency will be 3. No, 6, 3, and 2. Tap A is open first for 1 hour and tap A is closed. Tap B is open for 1 hour and tap B is closed. Tap C is open for 1 hour and tap C is closed. Okay, so 6 plus 3, 9. 9 plus 2, 11. 11 in 3 hours. 11 in 3 hours, so 11 into 11 in 3 hours. So 33 units के लिए it will take 9 hours. I will be remaining 9 units, remaining 9 units, 6 plus 3, 2 more hours, 9 plus 2, 11 hours. So here the answer is 11. It is done without pen. थैंक यू ऐसे इजी क्वेश्चंस आते रहे तो मजा ही आ जाए a solid metallic cylinder whose height is 7 is melted to recast a solid cone whose radius is equal to the base of the cylinder. Find the height of the cone. That will obviously be 3 times. So 7 into 3 answer is 21. Next. X square y square minus 6xy minus 16 x and y lie in opposite side of the number line. Find the value of this. Okay, so I can use a square plus b square प्लस 2ab टाइप समथिंग यूज करना पड़ेगा एक्स वाई को एक आइडेंटिटी ए ले लेते हैं सो इट इज ए स्क्वायर सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा विल मार्क इट फॉर रिव्यू एंड मूव नेक्स्ट 45 ए स्क्वायर प्लस 100 बी स्क्वायर प्लस दिस एंड दिस ए दिया है बी दिया है ए स्क्वायर है बी स्क्वायर है ए बी है सो ए एंड बी की वैल्यू निकालनी पड़ेगी आई हैव टू यूज पेन विल गो टू नेक्स्ट the expenditure of P is 25% more than that of Q. If the expenditure of P is reduced by 20%, so expenditure of P is 5 rupees, Q is 4 rupees. P reduced by 20% becomes 5, and the expenditure of Q is increased by 30%. 4 into 3, 1.2, so it will become 5.2. The total will be 4 plus 5.2, 9.2. Initially, it was 9. So, what is the percentage increase? That is zero point 0.2 upon 9 into 100. 2 by 9 is 22.22. Only one option matches my sync. I am not worried about other options, so this is correct. Then, okay, the following table gives the point out of 100 awarded by a magazine for 10 different companies in 5 different parameters: management, sales, profitability, reserves, cash flow. अच्छा ये table दी हुई है. Okay, how will I expand this? Okay. Parameters. So this is the table. Okay. क्या दिया हुआ है based on the information given below the following table gives the point out of 1000. Okay, awarded by a magazine. ठीक है, in 5 different parameters. Company A is said to be better than company B if company A achieved more points than company B in at least 3 of the 5 parameters. Okay, okay, मतलब I have to check in how many parameters they are better than each other. Let me look at the questions कितने हैं उस हिसाब से will go. Well, which of the company was rated better than all other companies? Which one would be the best? So let me check. Best can be calculated without making the table. So here the highest number is 77, 68, 84. B. Here it is 800 and 800, 800, 800, 868. So it is better than all in 2 parameters. Let me get one more parameter. So it can be here. 888, 882. No, in this it is not better than others. Reserves 668, but 674. It is not better. Here, let me check. 788. Mhm. 788, but 796 is better. Any other company better than 788? No. So let me check whether it is better than J or not. So here it is better than J, here it is better than J. Here it is not better than J, but here it is better than J. So B is better than J. The only concern was J. The next concern is, where is the next concern? 882, 888. So 888. So I have to compare it with E. E mein it is better, here it is better, here also it is better. So B is better than E. So here it topped the rank, here it topped the rank. E was making a J was making a concern here. भाई चेक कर लिया, कुछ गलत तो नहीं सोच रहा हूँ मैं. 668 वाले कॉलम को छोड़ ही दो और यहाँ पे ई कंसर्न बन रहा था तो ई से भी बेटर हो गया, ये जे से भी बेटर हो गया है. 668 से better was J. 694 is G. So let me look at G also. यहाँ पे जी से बेटर है, यहाँ पे तो बेटर है ही, यहाँ पे आई हैव टू लुक एट, यहाँ पे भी जी से बेटर है, सो बी इज बेटर देन जी ई जे। तो हाउ डू आई मार्क माय आंसर? So the answer is B. Submit. No, 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 no. Sorry. Save and next. Which company was rated better than exactly three of the other companies? इसके लिए पूरी टेबल बनानी पड़ेगी. So we'll put mark and review. How many companies were rated better than G even though they achieved less points than G in the parameter management? So मैनेजमेंट में जी से कम पॉइंट्स है बट उससे भी बेटर है, ये मैं शायद चेक कर सकता हूँ, बट आई हैव टू चेक द होल टेबल. सो इफ आई हैव टू चेक द होल टेबल तो प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन भी सॉल्व हो जाएगा. विल कम टू दिस क्वेश्चन लेटर. नेक्स्ट, हाउ मेनी इंटीजर values of x satisfy the equation this? So this is a clear case of a square minus b square is equal to 280. So a minus b. So what we do, we divide by 4 so that it remains even number, because when it is even number in front, it should be like this. So divide by 4 will become 70. The factors of 70 are 1. Uh, how many total factors will be? 170, 235, 3, नहीं 5 और 14. यार इसको लिख के ही करना पड़ेगा. आई हैव टू काउंट द नंबर ऑफ फैक्टर्स. नेक्स्ट, इन द गिवन फिगर द स्मॉलर सर्कल टचेस द आउटर सर्कल and the two sides of the square ABCD. The larger circle touches all the four sides of the square. The radius of smaller circle is root 2 minus 1. The area of the shaded region will be. So they are talking about some figure. Hmm, क्या फिगर बोल रहे हैं कि smaller circle and larger circle touches all the sides and smaller circle touches this, the area of the shaded region. They have asked for this area. कैसे करेंगे? area of the square, let's, this will be the radius r, this will be the radius r, so this will be r square minus quarter circle minus this circle. The radius of this circle is root 2 minus 1 if this is 1. लिखना पड़ेगा. विल सॉल्व इट. आइडिया तो मिल ही गया है. अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. 19. The difference between the number represented in the base ABC 8 as ABC, another number which represented 4 ABC, is 152 in base 10. Which of the following can be the sum of the numbers? Okay. Which of the following can be the sum of the numbers in base 10? Base 10 की बात करें तो it is 8, 64A सम निकालना है और डिफरेंस दिया हुआ, तो 64A सी से सी कैंसिल हो जाएगा. 64A माइनस 16A दैट इज 48A प्लस 8B माइनस 4B दैट इज 4B इज इक्वल टू 152. 4 से कैंसिल करेंगे तो इट विल बी, व्हाट विल बी द नंबर? 4 से कैंसिल करेंगे तो विल गेट 4 इंटू 3, 12, 32, 338, 38 नंबर मिलेगा. और 38 के लिए सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा, या मन नहीं मान रहा, इसको सॉल्व कर लेता हूँ. बेस सिस्टम का क्वेश्चन है. सो मैंने क्या बनाया? 64 माइनस 16 इज 48A minus, oh sorry, plus it will be 8B and that will be 4B, so that is 4B. C से C कैंसिल हो जाएगा, इज इक्वल टू 152. सो 4 से कैंसिल होगा तो इट विल बी 12A plus B is equal to 38. So B will be equal to 38 minus 12B. So what all values B can take? B can take 0, we can take 1, we can take 2, we can take 3. Maximum values of B can be 0, 1, 2, 3, and since they are in the base this, so A, B, C also can take these three values. So 8, 128, 8. So A can take 0, 1, 2, 3. If I put 0 as A, this number will not come in this range. If I put 1, then also 2 तब भी नहीं आएगा, 3 रखना पड़ेगा. तो इससे कंफर्म हो गया A is equal to 3 and B is equal to 38 minus 36, that is 2. A और B clear है. So A और B clear है, and now I can go for the sum. What will be its sum? So number is so the sum will be 64 plus 16, 80A plus 80A plus 8 plus 4, that is 12B plus 2C. So this will be 80A. A is 3, that is 240 plus B is 2. 24, 264 के ऊपर ही आंसर होगा. 260 नहीं हो सकता, 262 नहीं हो सकता, तो दो ऑप्शंस हैं. सो सी आइट्रेट करना पड़ेगा. तो सी कैन बी 0. So answer can be 264. Then C can be 1. So answer can be 268. 4 add हो जाएगा, right? And if C is equal to 2, तो 4 266 हो सकता है. And then if it is 3, तो 6 add होगा तो 270. Yes, 270 is falling in the range. So the answer is 270. Okay, fine. ये क्वेश्चन तो हो गया, but it took time. I should not have chosen this. बहुत टाइम चला गया. कितना टाइम बचा है? 42 minutes left. Okay. Item A, B, C, D, S, T. It is known that the for which J was sold as 50% higher than that of X. Also, the sum of the prices of I and J are equal to the sum of the prices of A and X. If I is 10% costlier, I have to form an equation, and then only I will be able to comprehend. Then the sum of all possible numbers of 4-digit found by sum of all possible numbers. Sum of all possible numbers. For this, I have to solve. We'll come back. Mark for review and next. A sphere is inscribed in a cube with a edge 10. What is the shortest possible distance from one of the vertices of the cube to the surface of the sphere? So shortest distance means the will be from the vertex to the surface of the sphere, and that will be across the diagonal. Diagonal will be, side is given as 10. So diagonal will be 10 root 3 minus the uh, radius of the sphere, 10 root 3 minus 5. 10 root 3 is the whole diagonal. So 5 root 3. 5 root 3 में से मुझे radius हटाना है. So if I have to subtract radius, that will be 5 root 3 minus 5. 5 root 3 minus 5. Option is D. Let's proceed. Find the largest possible integer such that n cube plus 100 is divisible by n plus 10. Okay. तो ये तो सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा देखना पड़ेगा. Okay. 5 10 square x minus cos square x is equal to 2 cos 2x plus 9. सबको 10 में या cos में कन्वर्ट करना है. cos 2x दिया हुआ है तो 2 cos square x plus 1. 2 into 2 will be 4 cos square x plus 2. So 4 cos square plus 11. 4 plus 5 is 9 cos square x. 10 square x can be written as x square x minus 1. लिखना पड़ेगा. इसके आगे ओरल नहीं सॉल्व हो रहा. This and this has a area, this the orthocenter of the triangle. So I can calculate k using the area. K की वैल्यू एक बार आ गई तो triangle के I will be able to point out the vertices, and if I know the vertices, I can draw the equation of the sides, get the slopes, because orthocenter means perpendicular होना चाहिए. तो line lengthy क्वेश्चन है, बाद में करेंगे in the round 3. The number of integers of m for which x coordinate of this and this is also an integer. अगर मुझे x coordinate integer लाना है तो सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा. Hmm, 10 this so it's, sorry analysis का क्वेश्चन है to solve this. 19 into 2 is 38, 19 into 3 and नहीं थोड़ा सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा. Orally I cannot answer. Cardinality of A is 4, B is 3. Find the number of relations that can be defined from A to B which are not functions. So the total number of relations will be 4 into 3. 2 to the power 4 into 2 to the power 3. Uh, that is 2 to the power 12. That is 4096. Total number of relations will be 4096, but I have to subtract all the functions. So the functions will be 3 to the power 4. 3 to the power 4 will be 81. 4096 minus 81 will be 2015. Oh, sorry, 4015. So here the answer is 4015. Pretty simple question, was looking difficult. Jack and Jill, John, Jack and Jill start simultaneously from A to B. John reaches B, turns back. टाइम स्पीड डिस्टेंस का थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन लग रहा है. ड्रॉ करना पड़ेगा. 3 लोग हैं एंड दे आर नॉट रनिंग ऑन अ स्ट्रेट लाइन, दे आर कमिंग बैक ऑल्सो. बाद में करेंगे इसको. लेट मी solve maximum things which I can solve in one go. The price of an item increases by 5 per unit and the number of items bought for 600 decreases by 4. Okay. इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन में क्वाड्रेटिक बनती है भाई, सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा. If the integers m and n are chosen between 1 to 100, the probability of the number is of the form 7m plus 7n is divisible by 5. 5 से divisibility is possible only if you have 0 or 5. 7 की powers में what is the unit digit is 7, 9, 3 and 1. 7, 9, 3, 1. So 7 and 9 form 16. So these are not required. So 1 and 3 is not required. Only power 2 and power 4 is required. So m and n will be power 2 and power 4. मतलब remainders will be 2 and 4. 1 से 100 तक या लिखना पड़ेगा. अभी तो नहीं समझ में आ रहा. Let me proceed. The unit digit, this can be solved orally. 2 की power 81 means 2 की power 1 2 into 3 की power 4 will be 1. Oh yes, 1, then 4, then 5. There is a even number, there is a 5, then definitely the unit digit will be 0. Thank you for this easy question. A plus B plus C is equal to 20, where A, B, C are non-negative numbers. C is equal to this. Find the number of possible triplets A, B, and C. If I put C is equal to 3A by 2, I can form some equation and then I have to use that trial and error. We'll solve it later. Almost half time ho gaya. Let me check how many questions I have done. 11 answered. Oh God, I'm lagging so much. The number of positive real roots of this is the number of positive real roots. So possible positive real roots plus minus minus. There is a one sign change. तो एक possible है. अगर मैं x 0 रख दूं तो नेगेटिव आ रहा है. x 1 रखूं तो it will be 1 minus 4. That is also negative. If I put x is equal to 2, तो 16 and 16 minus 8 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. So the root is between 1 to 2. Yes, there is one positive root. What rate percent the simple interest 33100 after 5 years be equal to the compound interest? So principal is 3310 into 5 into rate I don't know. So into R upon 100. So it will be 331 into 5 into R is equal to 40,000 into. So compound interest for 3 years will be R 3R, that is 30 plus 30 plus 10 10 10, that will be 30 10%. then will be, it is for 3 years, right? 10, 10, 10 will be 30 plus point 1, point 1, point 1. So, sorry, 10 ka 10% will be 111. Okay. So it is 33 and then 1 ka cube. So 33.1 into 40,000. So here I am getting 33.1 into 40,000. Principal I know, interest I know. So that will be 33.1 into 40,000 is equal to 331 into 5. 33.1 से ये 10 times cancel हो जाएगा, so it will become 50. 40,000 upon 50 आएगा will be equal to 800. अपॉन में 100 होता है वहां पे, जीरो ऑलरेडी कैंसिल किया हुआ है. ओरली से बेटर है, ये सॉल्व होता दिख रहा है, इसको खत्म करते हैं. सो इट विल बी 331 PRT by 100. So principal into rate into time into rate is equal to, so 3 years का 10% के हिसाब से ले क्यूब, तो that will be 33.1 times of the principal, that is 40,000 upon 100. So 2 zeros से 2 zero cancel, इससे ये cancel 10 times, 10 और ये बन गया 50, 50 से ये cancel 8 times, rate is 8%. Easy था, पेन यूज कर लेना चाहिए था पहले ही. Next 37. T can do a piece of work in T can do a piece of work in 45 days. You can do the same piece of work alone in 60 days. If on the first day S worked alone, on the second day T worked alone, S and T worked. On the third day S and U worked, S can do a piece of work in 30 days. Okay, so 45, 60 and 30. So that will be 60, 45. So 180. 180 is the LCM. So T can do 4 units, U can do 3 units, and S can do 6 units. So if I count for 3 days, first day S worked alone, second day S and T, third day S. So S worked for 3 days. So it will be 6 into 3, 18 plus T worked, that is 4 plus 3, 7. So 18 plus 7, 25 units. So 18 by 25 is 7 rotations. 7 into 3 is 21 days. 21 days, 5 units is still pending. So next day who will come? S will come, will be 5 by 6. So the answer is 21 5 by 6. Next. A survey shows 41, 35 and 60. Watch मैंने प्यार किया, मैंने प्यार क्यों किया, प्यार तो होना ही था respectively. 27 watch exactly 2 of the 3 movies and 3% watch none. If 3% watch none will be 97. 41 plus 35 plus 60 will be 95, will be 101, 136. But total is 97, 136 minus 97 will be 39 is equal to, exactly 1 cancel हो जाएगा, exactly 2 plus 2 exactly 3, 27 plus 2 exactly 3, 39 minus 27 is 12. So exactly 3 will be 6. 6 यहाँ ऑप्शन में नहीं है, मे बी कुछ एरर होगा. आंसर इज 5, मतलब 6 ही है आंसर तो, बट मैं 5 टिक कर रहा हूँ, शायद प्रिंटिंग एरर है. Let Tn denote the number of triangles which can be formed using the vertices of a regular polygon of n sides. If I have to form a triangle, then number of triangles formed using the vertices will be nc3, means they are not collinear. So n plus 1 c3 minus nc3 is equal to 21. And I am on the last question. Let me start solving such questions. So it is n plus 1 c3 minus nc3 is equal to 21. So n plus 1 into n minus 1 upon 3 factorial minus n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 upon 3 factorial is equal to 21. 21 into 6 will be 126 and this will be n plus 1, n minus 1, ये common आ जाएगा. So n into n minus 1. Now this is n plus 1 minus n minus 2. So it will be n से n cancel हो जाएगा. Plus 1 plus 2 will be into 3 is equal to 126. 3 से ये cancel हो जाएगा. 40 2. So n into n minus 1 is equal to 6 into 7. N minus 1 is 6, n is 7, answer is 7. So let me mark 7, 7 and proceed to the next question. The number of non-negative integral solutions of x plus y plus 3z is equal to 33. So since this is having 3, ये प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करेगा तो मैं रख लेता हूं x प्लस वाई इज इक्वल टू 33 माइनस 3z. अब if I have to distribute this, what is the formula? That is n plus r minus 1 c r minus 1, because I can use non-negative. जीरो को यूज करने का तरीका यही है. तो n is 33 minus 3z c 2 minus 1. Sorry. यहाँ पे क्या लिखना पड़ेगा? 33 minus 3z plus r minus 1 c r minus 1. So it will be 33 plus 2 is 35 minus 1 is 34. So it is 34 minus 3z c1. That will be equal to 34 minus 3z. So that will be the number of ways. So the answer will be 30. So the answer will be 34 minus 3z is your answer. Now Z can be 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 12. So Z can range. Z can be 0, Z can be 1, Z can be 2, Z can be 3, 4 up to 12. Why? Because this number cannot be negative. This number cannot be negative. So अरिथमेटिक नहीं आता है अर्पित. ये सिलेबस दे हैव गिवन. दे हैव नॉट मेंशन कि नहीं आएगा. गॉट इट? अरे मैं अपने क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर लूं, सॉरी. तो ये 12 तक जाएगा, 1 से लेके 12 तक. सो इट विल बी एन एपी. मतलब अगर इफ आई पुट 0 देन इट इज 34. इफ आई पुट 1 then it will be 31. If I put 2, so 34, that is 28. So here the difference is 3. So the first term is 34. What will be the last term if I put 12? So 36. 12 तक तो जाएगा ही नहीं, मतलब 12 नहीं ले सकता मैं. 12 नहीं ले सकता. So what I can take till 11. So last term will be 1. First term plus last term multiplied by number of terms. 0 से लेके 11 तक there will be 12 terms divided by 2. So this is 6. 6 into 35 is 210. So the answer is 210. Chal. So let me go to question number 3. Working individually, A, B, C, D can complete the piece of work in 8, 12, 16, 20, and 24 days. 8, 12, 16, 20, and 24 days. So what will be the LCM? 24 into 5, 120 into 120 into 2, because there is 16, that is 240. 240 अगर है, so he is doing how many units? 30 units. He is doing 20 units. He is doing 15 units. He is doing 12 units, and he is doing 10 units per day. So this is their efficiency. A start the work, and after 2 days B take. So for 2 days A work 30 into 2, work done by A, plus B and E takes over. This is B, this is E. So again 30 into 2, work done by B and E. And from in they work for next 3 days. So they work for next 3 days. C then works to complete half of the remaining work. So what will be the remaining work? 30 into 3, 30 into 5, 150 units completed, 240 minus 150, 90 units left. So then C takes over, will work for 3 days, 45 units. And remaining 45 will be completed by D. So 45 upon 12, that is 3 days completely and 3 by 4 days. So how many days? 2 plus 3, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 3, 11, and then 9 by 12, that is 3 by 4. So 11, 3 by 4 is the answer. 11, 3 by 4 is the answer. Third. A bias coin was tossed thrice if the probability of tail coming up for the first time on the third toss is 12 by 125. Obviously, so ये इस denominator तो मुझे पता चल गया is 5. So not coming is A, then not coming is A by 5, and then coming is B by 5. ऐसा कुछ रहा होगा is equal to 12 by 125. So this is A square B is equal to 12. So A square will be equal to 4 and B is equal to 3. So A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 3. So this is the probability. B is equal to 3 means 3 by 5. Answer is 3 by 5. Nice question. Easy था. पता नहीं क्यों नहीं किया पहले. ये तो सॉल्व कर लिया है. Let's go to question number 6. In how many different ways? This is already done. 6 is 7 next. Question number 6. Two fruits वाला कर लिया है. 7 next. What is happening? अच्छा. Oh, sorry. Next. A shopkeeper reduced the price. A shopkeeper left with only 23 minutes. Let me finish it quickly. 12.5%. 12.5% means 7 by 8 into 9 by 10 into 7%. That is 93 upon 100. I don't have issue with this. Only this will be counted. 7 into 9 is 63. 63 into 93. Let me count it as upon 8. So it is 8 times. 8 into 93. 8 into 93 will be equal to 8 into 93. So 8 into 3 is 24. 2 carry 8 into 9 is 72. 74.4. Approx. मतलब 744. So the answer is coming out to be 74% effective बचा है तो 74 minus 100 is 26. So the answer here is 26.6. Approximately it is correct. Next. This is done. Let's come to question number 9. So x square 6xy plus 16 on the opposite side, then we have to. So I can write it as a square minus 6a minus 16 is equal to 0. So from here I can get the value of a. So 16 is 4 into 4, 8 into 2. So it will be a square minus 8a plus 2a minus 16 is equal to 0. From here I will get a minus 8 and then a plus 2 is equal to 0. So from here a is equal to 8 or minus 2. Opposite side, if I have to get 8, so either both the numbers will be negative into negative is equal to positive, मतलब 8 तो नहीं हो सकता, so it will be this, and this is coming from minus 2 and plus 1. x and y यही हो सकता है, तो xy की वैल्यू चाहिए, तो xy की वैल्यू माइनस टू अगर लूंगा तो 2 की पावर माइनस टू प्लस 2 की पावर माइनस माइनस टू मतलब 2, so 4 plus 1 upon 4, that is 16 plus 1 17, 17 by 4. Answer is 17 by 4. ये अभी मार्क एंड रिव्यू रहने देते हैं, शायद लेंदी जाएगा क्योंकि मुझे ए एंड बी स्पेसिफिकली निकालना है. So let me go to question number 13. 13. Okay, so here I have to form a table. How many questions I have done? 21 answered. Good. Uh, इसमें भी टेबल बनानी है. 13 के बाद 15 में भी टेबल बनानी है. 17 देखते हैं. how many integer values, ये वाला सॉल्व करते हैं. So it will be, I'm writing this as a plus b into a minus b is equal to 280. So what all factors, how many factors will it have? 280 is divisible by 8. Yes. So 8 into 35. 35 into 270, huh? 35. So it is 2 into 5 की power 1 into 7 की power 1. So total number of factors will be 4 and 4 16. Total factors are 16. So number of ways it can be written as a product of 2 will be 8. But here integer they have asked, not positive. Okay. But here we will have problem when one is even and other is odd. So let's divide this by this thing. So I will get 2 ki power 1, 5 ki power 1 and 7 ki power 1. So the answer will be 2 into 2 into 2. So it is 8. Uh, so there are 8 ways of writing this number as a product of 2. Why I have taken 4? Because even भी maintain हो गया, ये 8 आ गया, positive negative दोनों allowed है. So the answer will be 16. 8 into 2, 16. Next. 18th. 14th I didn't attempt. What has happened to 14th? Acha. 16th, 18th. In the given figure. Okay. So let me solve this one. So this is the square. This is the circle. And this is the circle. So if this is R, the radius of the smaller circle is root 2 minus 1, means this is 1 and this is 1. Hence it is root 2 minus 1, because this is 1. So this is root 2 minus 1. I have to calculate the area of this shaded region outside the circle. So how am I going to calculate the area of the square? Will be 1, 1 into 1 minus, I will subtract this quarter circle. So this will be 1 by 4 into pi into r, that is 1, pi r square, that is 1. Then minus this circle also. So that will be pi r square, that is root 2 minus 1 whole square. So root 2 minus 1. This is root 2. This is minus 1. So the radius will be half of it. Is that so? No, 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 no. Uh, उल्टा कर लिया मैंने. So कुछ गड़बड़ कर दी. So this is the circle and this is the smaller circle and this is given as root 2 minus 1. If this is given as root 2 minus 1, so root 2 minus 1, this length is root 2 minus 1. So this will be root 2 minus 1. Okay. And then this will be r, this will be r. So this is r, this is r. And suppose if this is r and if I form this is, let's say this is capital R, and if I assume this is a small r, so this is a small r, this length is how much? This length will be r root 2, r root 2. So root 2 minus 1 into root 2 will be this length. So it will be 2 minus root 2 will be this length, and this is r. So capital R, sorry, capital R plus 2 minus root 2 is equal to r root 2. From here I will get r minus root 2 will be r times 1 minus root 2 is equal to root 2 minus 2. If I go down, so r will be equal to 2 minus root 2 upon root 2 minus 1. Okay, if I rationalize, I will get 2 minus root 2 into root 2 plus 1 upon 1. So it will be 2 root 2 plus 2 minus 2 minus root 2. 2 root 2 minus root 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. So 2 root 2 minus root 2 will be equal to root 2. So the radius is root 2. Okay. And now I can solve. So the radius is root 2 square minus half, oh sorry, 1 by 4 times pi r square. That is root 2 square minus root 2 minus 1. So pi into root 2 minus 1 whole square. This will be my answer. So I will get 2 minus, this will get cancelled 2. So pi by 2 minus 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 pi minus minus plus 2 root 2. So plus 2 root 2 pi. So 3 pi minus 6. So it will be 3 is common, 5 pi by 4. And can I take something common? And then 2 root 2 is common, 1 plus 3 by 4 pi. Mm, 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 mm. From these two, I can take 3 common, but 3 is not coming out. 2 टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करते कर सकते हैं क्या टाइम वेस्ट अभी भी 2 plus 1 ओनली 11 minutes लेफ्ट आगे बढ़ते हैं सेव एंड नेक्स्ट यार the difference between this is already done. This is question number 19. 19 is done. Let's go to question number 20. Let's solve this. 20 में क्या हो रहा है? 4 items. This is auction and the price of J was sold for 50% more than that of X. So J is equal to 1.5 times of X. Okay. Also, the sum of the prices of I and J is equal to A plus X. So I and J, I plus J is equal to A plus X. J can be written as 1.5 times of X. So I plus 1.5 times of X is equal to A plus X. So it will be I is equal to A minus 0.5 times of X. Okay. If I is 10% costlier than the cheapest item. So I is, so now what can I compare some of the prices of our auction? J is not the cheapest item. So J is not the cheapest item. Then J was sold for 50% that of X. So X can be the cheapest item. I and J is equal to A and X. A and X. So A and X both cannot be the cheapest. If X is going, if C, if the sum of these two and J is on higher side and X is on lower side. So here I will be on lower side and A will be on higher side. Why? Because J and X is a smaller quantity. So if J dominates, X reduces, A ऊपर आएगा सही सोच रहा हूं मैं तो I और X में से कोई एक होगा और I के बारे में दिया हुआ है 10% costlier than the cheapest item. So I is not the cheapest. It means X is the cheapest. So I can be written as 1.1 times of X plus 0.5x is equal to A. So 1.6. So A is equal to 1.6 times of X. Now what they are asking, which of the following must be true? J is 6.25% lower than A. So A इतना आ गया और J कितना है 1.5. So 1.5 upon 1.6 पॉइंट हटेगा 15/16 मतलब 1/16 2 की पावर 4 तो 6.25% लेस। वेरी गुड, फर्स्ट आंसर ही मैच हो गया, बाकी चेक करने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ी। नेक्स्ट, द सम ऑफ ऑल द पॉसिबल नंबर्स, ये मैं सॉल्व कर सकता हूँ। पीएनसी वन ऑफ द फेवरेट टॉपिक, देखते हैं होगा कि भी नहीं। So they have given the sum of all possible number of four-digit numbers formed by the digits this each digit once, repetition not allowed। सही पढ़ रहा हूँ मैं? Okay. So 1 2 3 4, the last digit can be 3, can be 5, or can be 6। If it is 3, these can be arranged into 3 factorial by 2 factorial, that is 3 ways। Now this can be arranged into, if 5 is there, then it will be 3 factorial. If 6 is there, then these three digits will be written as 3 factorial by 2 factorial, which is 3. So this is 6, this is 3. Now 3, since these things are coming 3 times, so 3 into 3, how many sum? 9. 5 into 6, how many times it will come? 6 times, so 5 into 6, 30, and 3 into 6, 18. So 30 plus 18 is 48 plus 9 is 57. So here the sum will come as 57. So 7 will be here, 5 will be here. Again, here also the same thing will be repeated. So 57 plus 5, 62 will be here, 6 will be here. Now 57 plus 6, that is 63 will be here, 6 is here. Then 57 plus 6, that is 63, 63327. Answer is B, Bombay. Next. ये कर लिया था मैंने। नेक्स्ट, फाइंड द लार्जेस्ट पॉसिबल नंबर। ओके, लेट मी चेक। इफ आई हैव टू डिवाइड n cube plus 100 by n plus 1, if it is completely divisible, n plus 10, okay, so how am I proceeding? Hmm. So suppose I do n plus 10 ka whole cube, so I can write it as, or I can go by division method। क्यूब लिख लेता हूं मैं इसका, क्योंकि अगर n क्यूब आ रहा है तो n क्यूब तो इसी में बनेगा। सो दिस विल बी n क्यूब प्लस 1000 प्लस 3ab। ab will be 10n into a plus b will be n plus 10। And if this whole term is divisible by n plus 10, so here n plus 10 is coming, so this is divisible. It means this should be divisible completely। If this should be divisible completely, then नहीं, यहाँ से this is n cube plus 100, right? चलो इसको सॉल्व करते हैं दूसरे तरीके से। n cube plus 100, n cube plus 100 को completely divisible बनाना है, n plus 10 से डिवाइड करना शुरू करते हैं। This will be n square minus n cube plus 10n square. Sorry, this will be minus, this will be minus, n cube cancel, so I will get minus 10n square plus plus 100। अब 10n square तो minus 10n, so it will be minus 10n square, minus minus plus, sorry, minus 100n। So this will be plus, this will be plus, so it will be 100 plus 100n. So I will get 100 plus 100n. So here I have to multiply by 100। So if I multiply by 100, I will get 100n plus का plus 1000 minus minus, so ये तो eliminate हो जाएगा। I will get 900 over here, so the remainder is 900। It means this 900, if it is completely divisible, it means this 900 is divisible by n plus 10। If it is divisible, I have to take the largest positive value of n, so 900 should be equal to n plus 10। From here, n will be equal to 890. The answer is 890। Fine। 24th को सॉल्व करते हैं। so it will be like 5 10 square x, so it will be sec square x plus 1 is equal to 4 प्लस 5 9 cos स्क्वायर एक्स प्लस ये बना था 2 प्लस 9 11। सही लिखा आएगा, मैंने डायरेक्ट लिख लिया। विल देयर बी एनी प्रॉब्लम? एंड इट कैन बी रिटर्न एज 1 अपॉन cos square of x, right? So this can be written as 1 upon a, this can be written as a, so it can be 5 a plus 5, sorry, what I am doing, 5 upon a plus 5 is equal to 9a plus 11. So from here I will get a का multiply कर दो, so it will be 5 plus 5a is equal to 9a square plus 11a. So I will get 9a square plus 11 minus 5 is 6a minus 5 is equal to 0. So 9 into 5 is 45 and 45 कैसे आता है? 9 into 5 is 45, वो भी माइनस का, so 45 is 15 into 3 और 9 into 5, तो 4 बनना चाहिए था, मैंने कुछ तो गड़बड़ की है। 16 16 5, तो ये 16, तो ये 16a in 8 into 2, 8 into 2 16, 8 into 9 into 5, लास्ट वाला तो 5 ही रहेगा। 5 into 9 is 45, 16 into 3, 4x की वैल्यू निकालनी है, तो cos 4x will be equal to cos 4x will be equal to 2 cos square 2x plus 1, और इसके अंदर भी मैं अगर रख दूं तो 2 cos square of 2 cos square x plus 1, तो ये यहाँ से वैल्यू बनेगी, तो मुझे 2 cos square x plus 1 की वैल्यू निकालनी। स्पेसिफिकली आई कैन राइट इट एज कि मैं 2 cos square x plus 1 अगर निकाल पाऊँ, cos square x ही निकालना है, और कुछ तो मैं गड़बड़ कर रहा हूँ, टाइम नहीं है, 25 सेकेंड्स लेफ्ट, उसको नेक्स्ट पे जाते हैं, कुछ और मार्क हो रहा होगा तो वो कर देंगे। ये भी सॉल्व नहीं हो सकता इतने कम टाइम में, ये सॉल्व हो सकता है क्या? नहीं हो सकता यार, 26 के बाद 27 अगर हो सकता है तो, नहीं हो सकता। 29 ये हो सकता है, लेट मी सॉल्व दिस क्विकली। जैक एंड जिल ये जाता है, वापस 11 पे मिलता है, तो इसने कितना कवर किया? x प्लस 11 अपॉन, दूसरे वाले ने कितना कवर किया? x माइनस 11। ये कौन है? जॉन रीचेस बी एंड टर्न्स बैक, सो ये तो जॉन है, और ये कौन है? जैक है, और दूसरी बार में ये जैक है और ये जिल है। कितनी दूर मिल रहा है? 9, तो ये x प्लस 9 और ये x माइनस 9। टाइम अप, ये क्वेश्चन किया जा सकता था। सो दिस इज इट, लेट मी चेक कि क्या आंसर है। मैं बिल्कुल ऐसे नहीं करूंगा कि आई गॉट द लिवरेज। सो लेट अस चेक कि व्हाट स्कोर आई हैव रिसीव। लेट मी सबमिट दिस। हालांकि ये वाला हो सकता था अगर मैं पहले पिक कर लेता तो, पर ठीक है, देखते हैं कितना किया मैंने सॉल्व। आंसर 25, नॉट आंसर्ड 15, थोड़ा सा टाइम मैनेजमेंट गड़बड़ हो गया। स्कोर करेक्ट 25। अच्छा, स्कोर 75 है। तो दिस इज इट भाई। मैं भी 25 क्वेश्चंस कर पाया। थोड़ा सा मैंने टाइम वेस्ट कर दिया। तो अगर आप इस टाइम को थोड़ा सा मैनेज कर लेंगे, पहली गलती जो मुझे समझ में आ गई थी चौथे क्वेश्चन पे, बट मैं कुछ कर नहीं सकता था, दैट आई क्विकली स्टार्टेड सॉल्विंग। मतलब मेरे को वही क्वेश्चंस करने थे, फिर मैंने बाद में पेस अप किया, तो वहां पे थोड़ा टाइम वेस्ट हो गया। थोड़ा बहुत बोर्ड की वजह से भी टाइम वेस्ट हो गया, बट हालांकि वो तो स्क्रीन और वो सेम ही रहेगा ऑलमोस्ट। But this is how you have to sail your boat through the examination, and you have seen कि भाई कितना प्रेशर होता है, कितनी गलतियां होती हैं, और कहाँ कहाँ पे हम कैलकुलेशन में अटक सकते हैं। हम बहुत आसानी से बहुत छोटी छोटी चीजें, कहीं कहीं पे तो मुझे लग रहा है कि मैंने जबरदस्ती शॉर्टकट लगाने के चक्कर में टाइम वेस्ट कर दिया। कहीं कहीं पे मैंने वर्बल कैलकुलेशन के चक्कर में टाइम वेस्ट कर दिया, कुछ चीजें लिख के शायद बहुत जल्दी सॉल्व हो जाती। तो दीज आर दी फ्यू लर्निंग्स। सो how was your experience, guys? How did it go? Means, hope you have enjoyed the session and seen कि भाई टीचर्स कैसे सॉल्व करते हैं। ऐसे ही आप लोगों को सॉल्व करना है एंड यू विल डेफिनेटली एस द एग्जामिनेशन। गॉट इट? क्लियर है? और कोई डाउट्स किसी को भी? जरा सी भाई, 60 मिनट्स में इतना ही टारगेट अचीव किया जा सकता है, मैक्सिमम 30, 31, 32 तक ले जा सकते हो। एनी अदर प्रॉब्लम? अरिथमेटिक देखो, हमें पता नहीं है होगी या नहीं होगी, वी हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड। हमें रिवाइज करके रखना होगा। मैंने जो सेशन लिया था, गाइडेड प्रिपरेशन, द रोड मैप टू आईएम के, उसमें भी मैंने बोला है कि अरिथमेटिक नहीं है तो एक स्मॉल जिस्ट ऑफ रिवीजन मॉड्यूल प्लान कर लें कि इतने 3-4 दिन में अपने को सारे कॉन्सेप्ट रिवाइज करके छोड़ देने, क्योंकि बहुत इजी स्कोरिंग होती है अगर आ गई तो। ठीक है, उन्होंने लिखा नहीं हुआ है, बट हम वर्ड बाय वर्ड नहीं जा सकते। ऐसे तो पहली बार जब आईपी मैट इंदौर आया था ना, तब दे हैव जस्ट मेंशन अप टू क्लास 10th एंड फ्यू मॉडर्न मैथ्स टॉपिक्स, बस ऐसे ही लिखा हुआ था जब पहली बार आया था। और जो सैंपल पेपर आया था उसमें सिर्फ अरिथमेटिक के क्वेश्चन थे, बट जब पेपर आया तो उसमें डिटर्मिनेंट्स के क्वेश्चन थे, मैट्राइसिस के क्वेश्चन थे। तो पेपर देख के आइडिया लगा कि यार ये सब कुछ भी तो आ ही सकता है। तो हमें मतलब आना चाहिए सब कुछ जो भी, क्योंकि यू हैव ऑलरेडी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर इट। जो आपको वो प्रिपेयर किया हुआ है तो आप उस हिसाब से कर सकते हैं। गॉट इट? क्लियर है? कोई दिक्कत किसी को भी जरा सी भी? कंपटीशन लेवल, सी, जिन लोगों ने भी, दोज हु फील कि आई एम इंदौर वगैरह फिल किया हुआ है और थोड़ा बहुत मार्जिन से मिस हुआ है, तो दे आर डेफिनेटली अप्लाइंग फॉर आईएम के। है ना? दोज हु आर डेस्परेट कि भाई मुझे तो इस साल जाना ही है, वो सब अप्लाई कर रहे हैं। और मैंने बहुत मेहनत की, तो डेफिनेटली आपको एक अच्छा क्राउड, अच्छा कंपटीशन मिलने वाला है। ऑल मैथमेटिक्स के वीडियोस कैसे मिलेंगे? तो होल मैथमेटिक्स इज कवर्ड इन दी मैराथन्स। वी विल डेफिनेटली बी कंडक्टिंग फ्यू सेशंस लाइव, कुछ सेशंस अपने हो रहे हैं। सो व्हेन यू आर ऑन दिस चैनल, you can find everything. There is one, this is the one stop solution for your every query. Just scroll the playlist, you will find all the topics, whole syllabus covered in just few lectures, क्योंकि जो मैराथन क्लासेस है उसमें पूरे टॉपिक्स कवर करवाए जाते हैं विद इन जस्ट 6 hours 9 hours ऐसे। So you will get it. And I want all of you. The likes are very limited. Why so? You didn't like how I was solving. What's the matter? Keep on liking and sharing with your friends, and the likes should not stop till it reaches a century mark. Got it? With this, I'd like to take your leave, and now ma'am will be coming to solve the verbal section. And this is how you got कि कैसे strategize करते, कैसे क्वेश्चन को छोड़ते हैं, है ना? कैसे एक सिंपल क्वेश्चन टाइम स्पीड डिस्टेंस का कर सकता था, बट वो मुझसे मिस हो गया। तो इस टाइप की गलतियां तुम्हें नहीं करनी है, मेरी गलतियों से तुम सीख लो। गॉट इट? क्लियर है? सो आई एम पुटिंग अ ब्रेक टाइम एंड मैम विल रिज्यूम द क्लास, विल रिज्यूम द सॉल्विंग सेशन।
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Do I have all people online and ready to begin with the English section of it? So, unlike the normal classes, today what we're going to do is going to be slightly different. You've already had a taste of what is going to be presented today, with maths being the first section. Of course, we're now going to be beginning with English, wherein I will officially be solving the mock. Now, it's an unseen mock. It's not the kind of thing that I've done, but I'm going to see how is it that I would want to finish the mock. How much time should I be spending? Which are the types of questions I can possibly, take a fluke at? Which are the ones I must not be attending, whatever said and done? And in totality, just understand how much pressure, time, management, all of these things can make or break a deal for us. So we're going to see if today's mock is going to turn out to be a recipe for amazing things to happen for me or a recipe for disaster. With that, let us begin. But first things first, I need a confirmation as to whether I am audible or not. Can you all hear me? Can everybody hear me? If I could just have a confirmation in the chat box, please, as to my audibility. Can you hear me? Okay, I will need a heads up, please, guys, in the chat box. That'll be great. Because we will, of course, be solving, and for solving, we will need, to have a two-way street here, a two-way communication street. Anybody, guys, if I have almost 12 people is what I see in the viewers. So if I could just get a heads up or a confirmation from anybody as to my audibility, I'd like to begin. Okay, so let me just begin without any further ado. Now, first, just a couple of things that I want to put out, and that is, if I do something wrong, please, I'm a human. Let's humanize, right? It could be that I might just get a couple of things wrong. Just because I'm a faculty does not make me immune. I'm not God sent, so I'm also going to be trying my hands, and by doing a couple of wrongs, I will also understand places, wherein I can improve myself. And I know for a fact that at the back of my mind, it is going to be the parajumbles, because parajumbles by default are always the tricky ones. And one does not go like majorly aura in it, but it's always a swap or two that really, sinks the boat for us. But having said all of that, let us begin. Just this last info. Our Kozhikode specifically tends to be asking about 60 questions. Now, out of the 60 questions, a rough breakthrough of the questions is going to be such wherein you will have oddly about 25 to, so anywhere between 20 to 25 questions are going to belong to the vocabulary section. We have close to 15 questions which are going to be of grammar. Now, grammar could be grammatical identification, error, odd one out, anything of that sort. We have about 4 parajumbles which are going to be theta based. Theta means type in your answer. We're going to have 4 questions which are going to be paracompletions, and then we have 2 reading comprehensions which are going to account for about 12 questions. Now, this is not the exact figure. A little bit of plus and minus is allowed everywhere, but this is mostly how it is going to be. Now, there will be a lag when you do it live with me, but a good idea is to really speed up and do as fast as you can, so that with the time that we have, because there is a sectional time to it as well, so that with the time that we have, we are able to finish. Now, you have to understand that ideally a reading comprehension should take anywhere between 6.5 minutes to finish. So that means about 13 minutes of the entire time is going to be dedicated to the reading comprehension. All of the other questions, and if there are 12 questions, which means 48 questions need to be pushed, condensed, and very, very accurately performed in the remaining time that we have, which means you have almost about 25 to 30 seconds, or say 40 seconds, to finish a question each. So that's the kind of speed that we will try and maintain, and that is going to be, our motto for today, to be able to finish all of it. Unlike the other examinations, Kozhikode's English is not very tough. The words are not very heavy. They are the kind of words that we have done, but yes, pressure tends to take the best of even the best of us. So we will not let the pressure succumb us in any way. And we're going to have a clear head. We're going to have a level head. We will read through and begin. Will it be enough for? Yes, of course. 6.5 minutes is the ideal time you must be spending on a reading comprehension, nothing more than that. And the comprehension again are not very tough. So it's not that you can't do, it is going to be the kind of time you will be able to finish it in. We will take a demo and be able to see. But anything more than that might just, take away your chances of doing the other ones. So my suggestion to you is when you get on to the reading comprehensions, maybe you can do one and skip the other and do the rest of the paper and then come back to the reading comprehension, because it's going to take more time, but you will only be able to attend 6 questions versus in that 6.5 minutes, you might just be able to do 12 questions of vocabulary. So you'll have to really think through, right? You'll have to be smart there to be able to see how can you in the most justifiable manner use the time that you have. And that is exactly what we are going to be doing today. Can IIM-K BMS test series be made available? I think towards the end of the solving, we'll figure out what needs to be done. And with that, let us all take a moment to be able to recall all good thoughts, good vibes. And with that, fingers crossed, all the best, everybody. Let us begin. Let's see what sort of a show are we putting up today. Now, of course, you have to begin with a declaration. So the declaration will have to be as to me giving a confirmation for the test. And with that, I am going to begin. Now, the first question begins with the vocabulary base. So with that, I'm going to start with seeing what it is. Indian intellectuals may boast, if they are so inclined, of being dash to the most elitist among the intellectual dash of the world. So of course, it talks about how the intellectuals are going to boast. If they are so inclined of being, so they are going to be the intellectuals. So of course, they're going to be somebody, they're going to be offspring. So the kind of idea that we want needs to be heir. Ancestors can't be an answer. Subordinate is not the kind of word that we will use because we're talking about family. We're talking about legacy over here. To the most elitist among the intellectual dash. Now, amongst the intellectual traditions of the world is what is going to be. It is not going to be cliche because cliche means things that are already old. So, which means the correct answer over here is going to be option D. Let's see the next. Companies try to improve employees' performance by dash rewards. By dash. Rewards encourage negative kind of behavior instead of dash. So, it has to be some kind of reward, wherein what happens is it tends to encourage negative kind of behavior instead of dash. So out of the words that we have, so companies that try to improve employees' performance by withholding rewards encourage negative kind of behavior makes sense. Conferring means to give, bestow means to give, giving means to give. That's not what it is. If there's a negative behavior that is coming up, there will only have to be one word. By default, the second word will also have to be the same. Getting on to the next. A growing number of these expert professionals dash having to train foreigners as the students end up dash the teachers who have to then unhappily contend with no jobs at all or new jobs with drastically reduced pay packets. So I know for a fact that the first will help me with the subject verb agreement. Now that I have a verb over here, I'll have to take an auxiliary verb. And now that I have to take an auxiliary verb, I think there is only one word. And that is what will have to be my answer. So a growing number of these expert professionals are having to train foreigners as the students end up supplanting the teachers. Now, welcome having to train is not going to be. Resist and resent are not going to be the kind of words. It's a continuing idea that I have. Next, the dash region of Spain. The dash regions of Spain. So if we're trying to be talking about, all have unique cultures. So the moment I see the word all, I know that it has to be something that has to talk about a lot of things. So which means different can be a word, different can be a word here, distinct can also be, divergent will not be. So you don't have divergent regions. You're trying to be talking about culture, which means either it will be distinct or it is going to be different. Let's see the other. But the now, which means you need a contradicting idea to it. But the dash views within each region make the issue of an unacceptable common. So it will have to be now with each region, there is something which is now the opposite of the diversity which was being appreciated in the first half. So now competing can probably be a word for us. Otherwise, we have disparate. Now, disparate is not going to be the word because disparate means different. Okay. And discrete means something which is going to be very, which is separate again. So it's not the separate sort of an idea that I want. Rather, it's going to be, but the competing views within each region make the issue of an acceptable common language. That I think accounts for a more better answer. So let's try our hands with A to be able to see. Because then what is the difference between disparate and discrete? That will be no difference. And then how do I decide which is going to be the answer? So I took a slightly different bend to the statement. Early dash of maladjustment to college culture is dashed by the tendency to develop friendship network outside college, which mark signals of maladjustment. So over here, early dash of maladjustments to college culture. So the fact that you're not being able to adjust to the college culture is how the idea is. So prevention cannot be identification, detection. Yes, treatment again cannot be the word. So we have two words over here. Now let's see which of the following is going to be. Culture is dashed by the tendency. So of course, if there is some sort of detection or identification that you have done, and then the further the statement says as to how it continues. That is, how do we identify that? So it cannot be complicated, rather it will have to be felicitated by the tendency to develop friendship network. So I think that makes sense, and this is what is going to be the answer. Starting from question number 6, we now have para completions. So we have a blank and we have to see which of the following is going to be the right fit. Let's read it. Federer's fifth Grand Slam win prompted a reporter to ask whether he was the best ever. Federer is certainly not lacking in confidence, but he wasn't about to proclaim himself the best ever. The best player of this generation? Yes, he said, but nowhere close to ever. Just look at the records of some guys here. I am a minnow. So a minnow basically means somebody who's insignificant, somebody who's very small. So that means the moment he claims that he over here is a minnow, whatever needs to be the follow-up idea is going to be what needs to be, it has to give up the idea as to how he's a minnow, while of course the other ones over here can be the, the superior ones. Let's see. His win against Agassi, a genius from the previous generation, contradicts that. Okay. Now this is an addition. We always have to talk about continuation. That is what para completions are about. So maybe A can be. Sampras, the king of the earlier generation, was as humble. Will go to say that he was as humble as probably Federer. And that shows the analogy, the comparison makes sense. Let's reserve B. He is more than a minnow to his now we've not talked about contemporaries. It has to engage with the subject of Federer itself. The difference between the best of his generation and the best ever is a matter of perception. That's again not what it is, because it ended with double inverted comma, which means it will have to be a continuation. Very well, then B can be an answer. Let's attempt onto it. Next. On to the 7th one. Thus, the end of knowledge and the closing of the frontier that it symbolizes is not a looming crisis at all, but merely one of the many embarrassing fits of hubris. Hubris is pride in civilization's long industry. In the end, it will pass away and be forgotten. Ours is not the first generation to struggle to understand the organizational laws of the frontier, deceive itself that it was succeeded, and go to its grave having failed. Which means whatever must be the continuing idea, that is going to be talking about the fact that we might not really be all of this, what has been talked about, but we might just be something else. Right? So let's see. One would be wise to be humble. No, that's not what it is. There was a contrast and there was, the tone, because para completions have to match the tone. So we know that the following line did talk about that we might not really be able to do any of this. But then we're the first generation to actually be doing something else. So let's see what line carries that idea. So your hunch and your anticipation works here. So we might be the first generation to actually reach the frontier. Okay, makes sense. But we might be the first to deal with the crisis. Okay, there's no crisis. However, this time the success is not illusionary. No, we did not want that. So between C and D, of course, the answer could probably be B. Let's see the next one. Okay. On to question number 8. Let's see what do we have here now. Most firms consider expert individuals to be too elitist, temperamental, egocentric, and difficult to work with. Force such as people to collaborate on the high-stakes project, and they just might become the fisticuffs. Even the very notion of managing such a group seems unimaginable. So most organizations fail into default mode, setting up project teams of people who would get along nicely. Okay. So which means that the moment you become like, somebody who's such a diplomat, somebody who's not really taking up the stance, and so they tend to fall into a default mode, and they tend to be having people who are simply going to be. So let's see. The result, however, is disastrous. No, they're getting along nicely. That's not what it is. The result is mediocrity. Yes, it can be. Everybody becomes a mediocre. Mediocre means a state of being just normal. The result is creation experts can't be. Naturally, they drive innovation. No, that's also not, because now we have a very cliche sort of an idea that's coming up. So maybe the answer should be B. The audiences of crossword and Sudoku understandably overlap greatly, but there's a difference. A crossword attracts more literary people, while Sudoku appeals a keenly logical mind. Some crossword enthusiasts turn up their noses at Sudoku because they feel its lack of depth. A good crossword requires vocabulary, knowledge, mental flexibility, and sometimes even a humor to complete. It touches numerous areas of life and provides an aha or two along the way, which means whatever now has to continue should be talking about Sudoku. So let's see. So because we talked about crosswords, so of course the subsisting idea, that's how the pattern, that's how the way the answering has been done. So Sudoku on the other hand is just a logical exercise, each one similar to the, makes sense. Incidentally, is growing popularity. No, that's not what it is. Sudoku, on the other hand, can be attempted and enjoyed even by children. We have not talked about children. When we talked about an audience, it took into account everybody. However, is not as exciting. No, that's not what it is. Sudoku also appeals the keenly logical mind. So I think there's only one option that is continuing the idea. So according to me, the answer should be A. Starting from question number 10, what we now have are grammatical exercises. Let's see. Although difficult to enumerate, genius is a level of achievement, aptitude, or capability. Okay, let's see. Which surpasses even the most other outstanding contemporaries. Now we know there something is wrong. Now aptitude or compatibility, which in the similar field surpasses even that of the most other outstanding. No, that's not what is going to be, because other and outstanding can't be together. Which surpasses even that of most other outstanding contemporaries in the similar field. Okay. Although here we have most and other, but here the arrangement is better. So the modifying errors are not there as they are there in the first one. Which surpass outstanding contemporaries in the similar field. This is leaving out information. Which is bound to surpass. No, we can't have any compulsion. So I think the best answer that could be made available is A, because between, B, because between A and B, B has proper modifyings to itself. We're all taking a guess here. Let's begin with, though all competitive exams do not allow using a calculator, but. Okay, now it is a but, so I know I can't begin with a though because both are contradictory conjunctions. So A will not be an answer. Not all competitive exams allow the use of calculators, but where they are permitted, there are restrictions on the model allowed. Okay, could be. Every competition exam does not allow using the calculators, but then it contradicts the second half. Every can't be. No, correction is not going to be the answer because we do need an answer. This I am very confident about. The answer is going to be option B over here. Let's see the next one. Question number 12. Now over here it says, denouncing it as anti-democratic, the Lobbying Act. Now first things first, I know for a fact that there is something called modification that has to be maintained. The moment I say denouncing it as anti-democratic, who is denouncing? So the next line should have the idea as to who needs to be denouncing. So Lobbying Act was slammed by critics. No, I need the critics first. So which means my answer will either have to be B or C. Either one of those. In furtherance, let's see. Democratic critics slammed the Lobbying Act, imposing draconian limits on the activities of civil trade union. Makes sense. Critics slammed the Lobbying Act, which imposes draconian. Now there's a wrong in grammar over here. So 100% sure the answer will have to be option B over here. Let's take the other one. While people in the Middle East have good reason to feel gravely threatened by terrorism, but okay. Now over here it says, while people in the Middle East have a good reason to be threatened, now we're talking in contrast to elsewhere in the world. So the moment I talk about elsewhere, that is what has to come first, then must come the contradiction. So but will not come because elsewhere is already doing the job of but. So both over here, both first and I think the third will not make any sense. So let's see the other ones. Elsewhere in the world, it is more that people are paying greater attention to the terrorist threat than they used to. This makes sense. Elsewhere in the world, it's more now. It's not going to be it's. It needs an it's with an apostrophe because that's a contraction of it is. 100%. This is what is going to be the answer here. Okay. In the question below, a part of the statement, you can provide answer choices that completes a given. Choose the grammatically correct answer. Let's get to this. The British created inexpensive and reliable communication systems such as the post and telegraph, which, now we have to see which of the following, connected all of India while also linking Indians to the rest of the world. Makes sense. which are still in operation makes sense, which had one of the most extensive railway networks in the world. Now, railway networks is out of the league because we talked about how there were communication systems that were done. And of course, there were posts and telegraph. And the moment you talk about communication systems, it takes into account the railways, in an inferential manner, so to say. So when I say the third, and I don't have anything which is going to take all of it, so while of course the third one can be inferred, but talking about which had one of the most extensive railway networks in the world, thanks to the perspective drawn. Okay, this is also grammatically wrong because it talks about a past perfect tense. I need something which even has to be talking about today. So my answer should be 1 and 2. Let's see. I could also be wrong, but we'll see. Okay, we need to see which of the following is going to lend the meaning, correct meaning to the sentence. Although parts of the suburbans are legally protected as national parks and sanctuaries, and there is a special focus on tiger conservation, its future now depends on local actions that will protect the banks from erosion. Okay, now maybe in the 15th one we might take the first because it makes sense. Now, tiger conservation. Much needs to be done to protect other species. Yes, that also makes sense because we talked about national parks and sanctuaries. Conservation, it is enough to protect the species from endangerment. Yes, that is also likely to be. So now that I know one is going to be an answer, it was everywhere. And I know 2 and 3 also seems to be correct. So let's take an attempt for all of the above. Next, we'll have to see which of the following is going to complete the sentence grammatically. Australia has reached a welcome tipping point. China and India being the sources of the biggest number of arrivals makes sense. With the education system investing seriously in language teaching to correct this, okay, for the first time, they are receiving more migrants from Asia than Europe. Okay, so we'll have to see which of the following will now. Now, first things first, Australia has reached a welcome tipping point. Tipping point in itself means it's the highest, right? So that means something is now going to happen. China and India being the sources of the big, number one rivalry. Okay, now even if I want one, then I do have an option that is all of the one, but I know for a fact that second doesn't fit in with their education system investing seriously. So by a tipping point. So I definitely don't want second, right? And then I have 1 and 3, which says for the first time they're receiving more migrants from Asia than Europe. So I need to have something which is going to talk about welcome and a tipping point. So I need both of those ideas. So I think here the answer will be only 3 because here option number 1 only talks about how it is a tipping point, nothing welcoming about it. Next, let's see what do we have for the 17th one. It is undeniable that people of a certain faith and Dalits are systematically singled out for mob violence from the flimsiest of reasons, makes sense. Have been given special rights and protection to safeguard their freedoms and identities, yes. Undergo discrimination, especially in the rural areas, even in this day and age. Definitely my answer is going to be all of the above over here. Okay, identify the correct sentence, another extension of grammar itself. Now let's see. Chinese civilizations evolved thousands of miles from Burma around the Yellow River along the flat, dry plains of northern China. Okay, all right, everything seems to be fine here, which means nothing is wrong in A. Under Emperor Shi Huang, world renowned for his terracotta army, China coalesced into one nation, bound with a common script, standardized weight and measures, and a mythical concept of celestial. Now, I know for a fact that something is wrong with B, and that is it's never bound with, it's always bound by. That's the phrasal verb that way. So B is definitely wrong. Anything with B will now be my answer. Now, A I knew was not an answer, so I just need to read C and D. Now, the moment I read one, I will have the answer. Down the ages, the heavenly kingdom would periodically fragment only to re-emerge under a new ruling family ever keen to expand the imperial realm. Okay, now this makes sense. There's nothing wrong. Perhaps nowhere this phenomena is more pronounced than nowhere is this phenomena is how it should be. So I'm 100% sure that the answer will have to be option A here. Okay, let's see the next. The first recorded mention of a sandwich-like meal dates all the way back to the 1st century BCE. Okay, all right, all is okay. In the 17th century taverns in Netherlands, it cannot be Netherlands. Netherlands is made up of a lot of places, so it will always be the Netherlands. Now, we know the is always used whenever it's a conjugation of a lot of things. So, B is definitely wrong. Anything with B will have to be an answer. I think there are two answers over here with only B. We'll just go with one. A typographical error there. On to question number 20. Let's see. Storytelling is one of our oldest art forms. Makes sense? This is correct. Nothing wrong with A. Anything with A will not be my answer. It stimulates the imagination and builds a sense of community among tellers and listeners. 100% wrong in B, because I know for a fact that tellers and listeners are two. It will take a between and not among. So B has to be wrong and A was never an answer. So I know the answer hands down will have to be C. No reason to read any further. Time is of essence. We'll move forward. Okay. We humbly decided to dash, including his own name in the assignment. So over here, of course, I know that the kind of idea that I want was to restrain. So we humbly decided to restrain, including his own name in the assignment. So it will be forbear. F-O-R-E, B-E-R is ancestor. Forsake means to abandon something. And forbid, of course, forbade means to allow. Early in its history, Deerfield became an animated market center for the surrounding country for raising cattle and other agricultural produce, and soon others. So the moment I have soon others, I know gave vent is not going to be. Gave vent is to remove your frustration. Followed suit, yes, it can be because they all followed the same line. So in the same manner, gave a lie, fell flat is something that flops. Not my answer. I'm 100% sure this will be the answer. We realized that we could stay underwater for 5 to 6 hours a day as the water warmed, but the warmer water also speeded up the growth of kelp, which was as thick as sugar cane and as slick as rubber, and it looked as if this was going to stop us. Okay, so now let's see. From gaining ground. Gaining ground basically means to be able to advance. Yes, that can be an answer. To be able to move forward. From giving the devil its due, that's not going to be. From paying the second fiddle. Second fiddle means the second party to it. Fast and loose, none of these are the correct idioms for it. The answer will have to be A. 24. A malicious code discovered in the computer system was designed to dash. Now over here, I know for a fact that it was designed to, so I need the verb in its basic form because that's the activity of the word over here. So was designed to snaffle usernames and password. So snaffle as of a word means to take oneself off. Okay, let's see what do we have for the other one. Starting from question number 25, a word's been given inappropriate usage. We've got to find what it is. The number one rule of the thieves is nothing. Is that nothing is too small to steal? Okay, steal makes sense. That is chori. Robin Hood decided to steal from the rich. Now it is not S-T-E-E-L. It will have to be S-T-E-A-L. So I think I've gotten the answer here. Just move ahead. Don't waste your time because we don't have a lot of time. Okay, the venal police officer accepted the money the drug dealer gave to him and looked away from the illegal deals. Makes sense. Venal means corrupt. It is very easy for the wealthy defendant to sway away a venal judge. No, this will also be venal because venal means correct. Venal, on the other hand, is sin. Sinful judge is not the answer. It has to be a corrupt judge. So I know if the answer is B, why do I even have to read the other ones? 100% it is wrong. Okay, 27. The notary departed with his green baize bag, apparently bursting with documents. Baize is okay. B-A-I-Z-E means a green woolen material. So generally on a billiards table is what you see. The rest of the directors sat around for a long green baize table and talked. Now this bay is wrong. B-A-Y, bay is like the Bay of Bengal. It's used in the aquatic sense, in the water sense. So of course, this is what will have to be wrong again. I will not be reading any further. Let's just begin. Let's just continue with the next. 28. What do we have here? Let's see. While playing with the ball, the kids broke the window of the house. Okay, correct. Do not play with my binoculars. You will break it. Makes sense. Joseph was penalized for breaking the speed limit. It should be B-R-E-A-K-I-N-G. So yes, it is not the break. It is B-R-E-A-K. Okay, next. The free churches are not disposed to bait anything of their freedom or to sink their identity at the national church. Okay, now here I can clearly see B-A-I-T is wrong because it's supposed to be B-A-T-E. B-A-T-E means to deprive of. Don't think to bait me and go free. Okay. Then they buckled on the bait boxes. Here B-A-I-T means to lure. Chara dalna, wo alag khana hota hai. Makes sense. McKay laughed. Nevertheless, he swallowed the bait. So I know for a fact that yes, the answer will have to be here. Okay. Now, I will come back for this. but I will not come back now. So I'm just going to take a leap of about, say, 10 odd questions and get to 42, or just see wherever this finishes, because first I want to finish up with the smaller stuff and then go back to the reading comprehension as discussed, because we will see how much time do we have to ourselves. Okay, now a parajumble. Forever we do parajumbles, you have to make sure that you read all the lines first. In this respect, okay, now in this respect, I know this is not going to start with. Now, it should be noted that both have the same work of political theory and especially the same aspects of socio-political life that may take ideological form. Okay, going further again has to be in continuation. So I know 1 and 2 is not a starter. Now, I will just see as a result can also not be said. On the one hand, we may refer, so we know for a fact that let's begin with 4 because it has the opening lines. So on the one hand, we refer to the term political doctrine. On the other on to the term political ideology itself. So the next will have to be what both of them speak about. Let's see the semantic and contextual relationship between the two terms. Two terms are the ones that have been used. Makes sense. Has been often marked by the identification, which is not entirely justified. Okay, so now let's see. Going further as a result will have to be more conclusive. So in this aspect, it should be noted that both have some works of, so both again is continuing on both of it. Mandatory pairs definitely will have to be 1 next. Especially the actual aspects of socio-political life that may have taken ideological form. The next one being, as a result, we should compare the two concepts in order to delimit their meanings as clearly as possible. Going further, we may think that ideology represents one of the expressions, and I think this should just be this. I don't know. Not too good with parajumbles, like I said at the starting, but let's just see how does it harm us. Question 43. Now again, we will read, and upon just giving a glance at all of the statements, I know for a fact that I'll have to begin with 4. Philosophy has a long struggle to understand the nature of color. Talks about philosophy. The next line will have to be further talking about what philosophy does. So understanding the nature of the color, okay, however, has proven a daunting task despite the rumors filled, okay, this makes sense. Now over here, we'll read all the lines. Even knowing how to start can be difficult. We have not talked about starting as yet. Is color to be understood as an objective part of reality, a property of the subject that is similar to shape and size? The central role color plays in our life. Okay, now always remember we have something in parajumbles called the order of narration. Order of narration means however the information's been mentioned. So in visual and acts as a metaphor of emotion has made the obvious candidate for philosophical reflection. Now between 3 and 5 we will have 4 followed by 3. Then of course 5 because both continue to talk about the colors, and ultimately I need maybe a 1 and a 2 because that is how it tends to be talking about. Knowing the start of it can be difficult, and then how do we understand it? Let's try. Who knows what the answer is going to be, but this is what we could find out. Let's see. Richard entered the travel. That is what it looks like. The answer, that is what the opener looks like. Because all of the other ones are either he or they continue about who the next person is. So he entered the travel. Next. He found Sam in a small black room. Okay, now Sam's also been introduced, wherein clerks, merchants, and numerous people are drinking coffee to the bowling of singers. Makes sense. Okay, so we have 2 and then we have 4 post which we can have. On the table in front of Sam stood a glass. Okay, highly narrative, so this will follow next. And then bottle to open a bottle of champagne. Inside the room, he also found a girl with a flute and a good looking rosy cheeked girl of 19 wearing a strip skirt with ribbons. Okay, makes sense. And in spite of the singers in the room, she was singing a hall sung in the husky voice to the accompaniment of the flute. So of course, this is what is going to be this I'm very confident about because this was entirely narrative in nature. And let's try the last one over here. Now it says in this, okay, I think this is a repetition of what we just did. And the kind of answer that we have for this was 4. We started with 4. We then had 5 to ourselves. We then had 1, 3, and 2. So that is what the answer was supposed to be. This we've done. Okay. We cut the scorched part of the fallen apple. -8. The unripe flesh. So whatever was not ripe, we cut that off and ate the remaining part. So the kind of conjunction that we want over here will have to be 8. And next, darkness dash over the forest, increasing the danger of wild animals. So of course, darkness, we want blanketed sort of an idea. So the only word that we have is grounded, collapse, decline cannot be descended is what it is. So slowly it began to get dark. The courtier obeyed the king's orders in a dash. So which one? Complacent or complacent? So complacent with an S-A-N-T means pleasing. Complacent with a P-L-A-C-E-N-T means satisfied. So over here we want the courtier ordered the king's order in a complacent manner, pleasing manner. And there's a danger of becoming complacent, that is satisfied, if you win a few games. So the combination is going to be A and complacent and complacent. Which of the following is not an antonym of another word by way of adding the prefix un? So we have to see which of the following is not an antonym of another word by adding the prefix. So the moment you add the prefix un, which of the following will not be the accountable? Unaccountable is correct. Abashed, unabashed is correct. Unanimous is not a prefix, it's a word in itself, so it is not the prefix over here. Very much an answer. Unequivocal, correct, because equivocal, unequivocal. Next. Fill in with the appropriate word. She was dashed to have worked with some renowned scientist in the world. So, of course, she was very happy is how the answer should have been. So, she will have to be fortunate over here. Leopards have learned to dash to semi-urban living near Mumbai and Gurugram. So, of course, we know that leopards have also started to coexist is how the idea is. So, if it has to be coexist, then of course 51 will have to be adapt. Okay, part of the sentence, you have to choose the one that has a grammatical, choose the correct option. There's an erroneous part. Solar cells are attractive prospects because, so it begins by talking about how they were attractive prospects because they could be used on maneuver in orbits. Now, you know for a fact that they could be used on maneuver in orbits is not how it is. You always maneuver to the orbits. So clearly 52 will have to be B. It was a prepositional error and I'm very sure of it. If the board decreases our funding for this project, it will really dash. So we have to fix in the correct idiom that we have. It will really, we want the kind of idea which is now going to be preventing the plan. So the idiom that means preventing the plan is throw a spanner into the works. So adanga dalna is how the idea is. Throw down the gauntlet is to challenge somebody. Throw caution to the wind is don't care. And throw us a lifeline means to help someone, to aid someone. Appropriate word which is an antonym. Intentional means किसी चीज को जानबूझ के करना. So of course the antonym for this can be जो जानबूझ के नहीं अपने से हो गया, which will of course be accidental. Next, give me the opposite of the word which is sacrilege. Sacrilege का मतलब होता है किसी चीज का किसी religious चीज का बहुत ज्यादा खराब करना किसी चीज को. That is what is sacrilege. So of course being able to, the quality of being religious, preserve the religious entity becomes piety, comes from the word pious. So that is what is going to be. It was hard for her to survive with the little food and water she dashed with. So of course she was left with. Simple past tense is what we want. Perfidy. Now we have to find the one that is similar. Now perfidy means untrustworthy. So of course over here the answer will have to be faithful. Precarious means dangerous, not the answer. Treacherous, yes. Treachery means जो खंजर भुगता है पीछे. Okay, give the antonym for mutate. Mutate means anything that's going to change. So modify, change. Transmogrify also means to change. Transmutate also. Preserve will become the antonym of this. Which of the following is the antonym of the word ameliorate? Means to make things okay. So of course the opposite of ameliorate, I think this is very visible. It is going to be deteriorate. Coalesce means बीमारी से ठीक होना. Retrospect is सोचना flashback में. Meliorate is the same as ameliorate. The next one we have to see the correct usage. Okay, rash, thrash, rash, trash, thrash, thresh. Okay, so rash. Now rash of course over here can be, say for example, he was censured for, okay, rash action. Rash is going to be something which is very hasty. You don't give a lot of thought. So one can be B. So there are two options with one and B. Let's see the second. Thrash. Thrash is of course to trash. Sorry, trash is to litter something. Okay, the grains of the wheat are dashed. The police litters were thrown in trash can. That is what. So two is going to be D. Now that is going to be D. I think I have only one answer, which is 1B, 2D, 3A. 3A एक बार देख लेते हैं. Trash. The police thrashed the thief. And thresh basically means to beat the grains, to remove the husk from it. So there's only one option, and that is what will be the correct answer. Now, we have the reading comprehensions that remain, and if you see, all of this was something that we could just finish in about half an hour of time. So we do have ample time to ourselves. Let's get to what remained for us, and that were the reading comprehensions, which we will do around say now. Okay, first things first, let's take our time to be able to read the comprehension, because we need to know what the comprehension is going to be all about. So I'm going to take my time to be able to read the comprehension, and with that, let's begin. Okay, it's a long one. And also one thing that you can do is you can always give a look at the questions. So first question is suitable title for the passage. Okay. The second is in the recent years. Okay, so there is a line to which what they're asking what is applicable. Which of the following is true as per the passage? An implied meaning question. Which of the following is a concept of otherness? Okay. And then we have what is English about England? And this is a different passage altogether. So first, let's begin with the 30th question. But we'll of course read. So it begins with who and what is an Indian. How we are to characterize. How we are to characterize the Indian diasporic community as Indian, given that it is constituted of such diverse elements as South Asian, Hong Kong Muslims, Canadian Sikhs, or shall we say Sikh Canadians, Punjabi Mexican Californians, Gujarati East Africans, now settled in the US by way of England, South African Hindus, and so forth. In the United States, at least the Indian community has occupied a place of considerable privilege, and many Indians could deflect the moment of recognition that Indianness and being American do not always happily coincide. In recent years, with a declining economy on the one hand and the congregation of the Indians in clusters that visibly put them apart on the other, Indians have for the first time become the targets of racial attack. Okay? The Indian woman in her embodiment of sheer otherness, and so she has been perceived by the so-called dot busters, a gang of white teenagers operating in New Jersey who have already been responsible for several violent crimes against Indians. Okay. In North America and the UK, the native Indian costume has come up for public scrutiny and discussion in an altogether different aspect. Sikhs have insisted that they be exempt from the law that compels bicyclists and motorcyclists to wear helmets, for such helmets cannot be worn over turbans, and their religious faith requires Sikh to wear turbans. Okay. The kirpan has been an issue of contention in the California schools. So they're just talking about all things that have been of contention. The corner shop, a hallowed symbol. If we could recall our Dickens of English life, is now mainly in the hands of the Indian. The obvious question is not only what do the Indians think of that, but also if the English landscape has been so altered, what is English about England? The diaspora, in short, affects the center as well. However, unlike Indian communities across the world might be, they all maintain some sort of tenuous link with the motherland. The most likely candidate for the face of bonding would be, of all things, a Hindi feature film, a phenomena unique to the Indian diaspora. What Hollywood is to Western Europe, the Bombay Hollywood, Bollywood, is to the Middle East and East Africa. The modesty, not to mention Puritanism, of the Hindi film is set to explain its appeal to the Islamic world, and though we may well contest that interpretation, it is worthy to note that Hindi films found in grocery and video stores across the US often carry subtitles in Arabic, one language which is indubitably not spoken in any of the Indian communities in the US. The Indian arranged marriage might furnish another such facet of a common culture. Newspapers published by Indian communities flourish everywhere, and they invariably carry a section with matrimonial ads. Though these very ads help Indians to locate one another, they pose difficult questions about otherness. both the otherness of Indians in relation to Americans and the internal otherness of certain Indians too in relation to others. Okay, all right. So we understand what the passage is about. Let's get on to the questions to be able to see. Now, what do we have over here? Beginning with the first one. Sorry. A suitable title for this passage would be. So we have to find which of the following is going to be a suitable title. The Indian diaspora makes sense because whenever we look for answers, rule of protagonist lagate hain hum log. That is of course something that we want. So yes, the Indian. Being Indian is not what it is because we're talking about the community at large. So diaspora was an important term. Recognizing Indianness, that was only the second paragraph, not the first paragraph, because the first paragraph had a lot of criticism. The Indian way of life, again, no, that's not, because that will come from the third person perspective. It will come ki Indian. So then I think the answer should just be the Indian diaspora. Okay. Now, in the recent years, with a declining economy on the one hand and the congregation of Indians in clusters that visibly put them apart on the other hand, Indians have for the first time become the targets of racial attack. Which of these phrases is applicable to the line above? Okay, we have to see which of the following. So this phrase is going to be applicable. Desires are nourished by delays. Desperate time calls for desperate measures. So of course, the very first time they have come into the attack under the under the banner of the racial attacks. So now desires are nourished by delays. Now this is not the idiom which is going to align to this idea. Desperate calls for desperate measures. Had the the ones who are being racially attacked, they were doing something about it, that would have accounted for desperate measures, account for desperate times for desperate measures. But they're just talking about the fact that they've been talked about or they've been bannered under this racial attack. So I think the answer should be neither A and B. Which of the following is true as per the passage? Simple, we just do a true and false. All Indian communities around the world are patriotic. All explicit can't be. The Indian diaspora are dissimilar to each other. Yes, while in some city it might be the other country it might be different. There's a deep cultural bond connecting Indians all around the world. Okay, now we did talk about the fact that Bollywood was that one thread which does bring everybody together. But to say all around the world, maybe again explicit, the Indian diaspora is declining. Maybe, I mean, we might just agree to this, but I think the Indian diaspora are dissimilar is more likely to be an answer for me. The Indian arranged marriage might furnish another such facet of a common culture. What does this imply? Indians are getting married in foreign lands. Okay, all right. Now, when I say the Indian arranged marriages might furnish another such facet of a common culture. So common culture is, this is something which is everywhere. So Indians are getting married in foreign lands? No. Even in the foreign lands, Indians are getting arranged marriage. So that would have been the implication. No. Arranged marriages are common in the West? No. Arranged marriage among Indians are common in the West. The fundamentals of Indian marriage are changing? No. In fact, it goes to say we are still very conventional in our thought process. So again, I feel the answer should be none of the above. None of these can be implied. Which of the following weakens the concept of otherness as mentioned in the passage? So the concept of otherness was basically everybody was, I mean, people had their own reservations when they were trying. So no two Indians were the same. So there was there was some sort of otherness. So if I simply talk about weakening, weaken means the reverse. So whatever should be my answer should now talk about the fact that everybody had some sort of equality, right? So there was no, that is how there was no discrimination. Let's see. There exists an us versus them feeling. No, it should not be an us versus them. Only then will there be no otherness. So weaken करना था ना, हमको तो opposite बोलना था, ये नहीं. For me, every Indian is equal, irrespective, can be equality. Everybody is the same. There is nobody other. Makes sense. I love my country, but there's a little that can be offered as compared. It's not about the West. I don't think people of varied background can exist peacefully. No, that's not what otherness is. If you have to weaken. So until now, what is happening is there is some sort of drift. We want to change. We want to take away this drift. So I feel the answer should be B. Okay. What is English about England? So this is based on the assumption that, so assumptions basically are what must have struck the author that he said something like this. So now that I'm thinking as to why must he have said what is so English about the England, which means he might have obviously understood that there was a time when everything was English about England, but now multiculturalism has come in, and that there is nothing more English about the England. So the Indian diaspora is populating England. Okay, maybe let's reserve this. England's always been multicultural. No, that's not what England today is a pluralistic country. Makes sense because today is a very important word. And there is no more. England is no more a powerful. That's not what it is. So between A and D, the Indian diaspora is populating England. That's not. So then it should have been England will soon no more be English. So I think the answer over here should be C. Okay. Now we're on to the next passage, and I think this is the last one that we have. We still have about 16 minutes, and if you see, just by changing the sequence, we save so much of time. And this is how you should be. Should be careful. Read your paper. Know what needs to be done. Understanding where you are in the world is a basic survival skill, which is why we, like most species, come hardwired with specialized brain areas to create cognitive maps of our surroundings. Where humans are unique, though, with the possible exception of honeybees, is that we try to communicate this understanding the world with others. We have a long history of doing this by drawing maps. The earliest version yet discovered was scrawled on cave walls 14,000 years ago. Human cultures have been drawing them on stone tablets, papyrus, paper, and now computer screens ever since. Given such a long history of human map making, it is perhaps surprising it is only within the last few hundred years that North has been consistently considered to be at the top. In fact, for much of the human history, North almost never appeared at the top, according to Jerry Broughton, a map historian. North was rarely put up at the top for the simple fact that North is where darkness comes from, he says. West is also unlikely to be put on the top because West is where the sun disappears. Confusingly, early Chinese maps seem to buck this trend. But Broughton says even they did not have compasses at that time. That isn't the reason that they placed north at the top. Early Chinese compasses are actually oriented to point south, which was considered to be more desirable than the deepest, darkest north. But in Chinese maps, the emperor who lived in the north of the country was always put on the top of the map, and with everyone else, his loyal subjects, looking towards him. In Chinese culture, the emperor looks south because it's where the winds come from. It's a good direction. North is not very good, but you are in the position of a subjection of the emperor. So you look up to him, says Bronson. Given that each culture has a different idea of who and what they should look up to, perhaps not surprising that there is little consistency in which way early maps pointed. In ancient Egyptian times, the top of the map was east, the position of sunrise. Early Islamic maps favored south at the top because most of the early Muslim cultures were north of Mecca. So they imagined looking up south towards the Christian maps from the same era called Mappa Mundi, put east at the top towards the Garden of Eden and with Jerusalem in the center. So everybody had their different ways. So when did everyone get together and decide that north was the top? It's tempting to put it down to European explorers like Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand who were navigating the North Star. But Bronson argues that these early explorers didn't think of the world like that at all. When Columbus describes the world, it is in accordance with east being at top. He says, Columbus says he is going towards the paradise. So his mentality is from the medieval Mappa Mundi. We have got to remember as Bratton that at that time no one knew what they were doing and where they were going. Okay, so everybody had their own versions of maps is what it primarily talks about. Let's see. Early maps did not put north onto the top for all of the following reasons except so we know that it is somewhere in this paragraph that these are the lines where it says, and this is a specific detailed question. So let's begin. Now we know all the reasons that it did. Now north was a source of darkness, yes. So that was the reason why it was not. South was favored by some emperors, again that was not going to be. East and south were more important for religious reasons for some civilizations, yes. East was considered by some to be more positive direction, yes. So now that you're talking about early maps did not put north on the top for all of the reason except. So there are three reasons why they were on top. We have to look at that one reason, Suryansh, wherein it is not the reason. So I think the answer should be B. South was favored by some emperors. Okay. Let's see what do we have for the next question here. Which of the following best describes what the passage is trying to say? Okay, so now this is an organization question. So how has the information been organized in the passage? So over here, it questions on explanations. There's no question. That's all. It corrects a misconception about how maps, yes, because now that we know that how maps have had a religious configuration to itself, we know how they were made. Makes sense. It critiques, no, that nobody has been critiqued, nobody has been, found faults from. It explores some myths about, it doesn't explore the myths. It was actually a thing that happened in the past. So it's no more a myth. It was exactly how they were designed. So I'd go with B. Let's see the next. It can be inferred from the passage that the European explorers like Columbus and Magellan. Okay, so that is towards the last line. That is the last paragraph, top two lines is where this answer is going to be. Set the precedent for north up maps. No, that's not what it is. Navigated by the compass. No. Use the eastward orientation. Yes, because those people preferred the east. Definitely, that's the last line can give us this idea. Navigated with the help of early maps. No. So yes, the answer should be C here. I feel. According to the passage, early Chinese maps placed north to the top because. So this is a reverse of the first question, right? So this is very easy. So they did it why? Because they always, they were always of the option that the emperor is placed on the top and they wanted to show respect. Had they done it the other way, the emperor would have shown respect to the subordinates, but that's not what they wanted. Let's see which option is there. So the Chinese invented the compass and were aware, no. They wanted to show respect, yes, we discussed this. Chinese emperor appreciated the wind from the north, no. North was considered the most desirable, again, no. So yes, we think it is B. The role of the natural phenomena influencing map making conventions is seen as early as, I think, the opening lines of the passage itself had this answer. So this was in the early Egyptian maps. Islamic, no. Chinese, no. Christian, no. Because those had a mention here. So I think this also we know. And the last one for this, which of the following which one of the following about the northern orientation of the modern maps is asserted in the passage? So when I say asserted, which of the following will be true? The biggest contributory factor was the understanding of the magnet. They never understood the magnetic north. The biggest was the role of the European explorers. No. Was the influence of the Chinese map? No. Biggest contributor is not stated. Yes, because the biggest contributor has not been stated. They've all given us reasons as to why it could likely be. सबके अलग अलग reasons थे, but biggest contributor क्या था हमें नहीं पता है. So very much this is what should be an answer. Now let's go back to question number 60 here. For 60 we did, I remember we marked B as the answer, and I think with that we come to an end of our mock. Let's see the mock. This mock specifically, the LOD of the mock was easy. Ayush has asked what is the level of the expected VARC questions? Easy. Anywhere between easy to moderate. There will only be a few questions that you might not be able to understand word-wise, and that will be nothing short of 2 or 3. You will know all of it. So be careful when it comes to practice a lot of para-completion. So here if you see, the para-completions didn't take us time because we only matched the subsisting idea and tone. So whatever is going to add to the tone, and जैसे ही मैंने सोचा कि अच्छा ये लाइन यहाँ खत्म हुई तो anticipation देखो ना नरेशन का आगे क्या बोलेंगे हम बस उसको ढूंढो फिर. That's the best way, and practice will get you there. Grammar, again, please be very, up with your phrasal verbs, your tenses, because mostly that is when subject verb agreement and subject pronoun agreement. I think ये चारों हो जाएंगे, so that is also going to be taken care of. And with that, let us. So we've attempted all of the 60 questions, and there's only one wrong answer that we had, which is not bad. I think I did a good job. And also here there was, of course, a typographical error. 2 questions were repeated. They were the same. So that's where I think we got wrong. But then it was, of course, very, very easy. And with that, we come to an end to the session that we have today. I hope it was fruitful enough and that you understood something about what strategy should be. And because you've been given the option to be able to do. So you have time. You have a 1 hour time to be able to do it. Please make sure you use the best. But vocabulary and grammar should never take more than 40 seconds, because if that's the case, then all of the other will get compromised. Make sure you're being very smart about it, and all the very best, guys. Absolutely chill free in the mind is what you are supposed to be, and you will be a force to reckon. Nobody is going to stop you there. Thank you so much. All the very best. Rock it in the paper.